No theme tune today. Just going to be talking about some current affairs. I'm against the clock, so I'll try and get as much done as possible. I praised this the Red-Handed podcast the other day, but there was something about it I want to chat about. Actually, I'll just play.
Changed my mind on the arguments that were being presented before this press came out.
Yeah.
Because what really wound me up, people saying, well, I just don't believe anybody would do that.
No.
And that is not an argument.
No.
And I stand by that.
I stand by that
But
also.
that, after the trial, before all of this came out,
What? Whoever said that? I don't remember anyone ever saying that. Like, is that when we speak about Lucy's innocence? Is that what they're hearing? See, what they're not getting, the other side, is just logically the thing didn't make sense. You know, it doesn't compute logically. What we're talking about is not just that a woman would do that. It's the fact that a woman who's a nurse who had no history of anything negative at all, and not just that. I'm talking about all of the other logical paradoxes of why would you go to university, work somewhere for years, and then start killing just a few, not all of them, but you'd only go on your killing spree when there was already a natural rise in deaths due to natural causes, because not all of the deaths were attributed to her. So you're saying that she went on a killing spree during a natural rise in deaths, which would just draw more attention to yourself. So what were they saying, that if she didn't care about being caught? Because in which case, why would she be killing them in secret and using these strange, obscure, bizarre methods that no one has ever thought of doing, that were genius ways of killing them without leaving a trace? And as they say, she's changed her craft. I'm using the word craft as in witchcraft, to change it for each baby, and so if she's using these genius ways to kill them in order to, like I say, to evade capture, why only do it to ones that she's on shift for? Why only these ones? And if she was, and why even kill the babies if she had we know she had a grievance with J.R.M. and Breary, like we saw from the text messages, someone joking about wanting to kill them, and yet she didn't even let their tyres down, but she's going to go out and kill these random babies belonging to random mothers. That's what we're saying. Didn't make sense. I mean, this whole that's the thing that didn't compute. So, like, when people say, oh, people do just do random acts of violence. Yeah, mental people do. She had no mental problems. Like, her job, literally, you have to be sane, not only sane, extremely sane to do. She's got a nursing degree to do it, and which in her job involves not just doing medical things, but interpersonal skills. And nobody after the fact said she's mental. Nobody during the time said she's mental. Everyone says she's normal. She is normal. You had to be normal to do the job, or be above normal. And so this it just logically didn't make sense, because she's either crazy or not, or she's either an evil genius or she's stupid enough to go on this random killing spree during a already heightened period of deaths where she's going to be under more scrutiny. And why would she kill the babies that she's caring for? And it's not just that. Nothing made sense. Why would it take you 3 attempts to kill a child? Surely after the first 2, someone would get suspicious. And you wouldn't fail if you're going to kill to kill a preterm baby. All you got to do is just not look after it for an hour, pop out to have an extended lunch. Nothing about the case made sense. Is that what the other side were hearing? I just thought I'd get some of that off my chest. And let's talk about stuff that's going on in the media. I'm always having a pop at the BBC, which is the state media, government owned. And so, right, since the announcement, they obviously had to cover the big announcement because it made international news. Since then, they've only done the BBC has only done 2 more Lucy Letby stories, even though she hasn't actually been out of the news for this whole month, really. There's been something every day. But the only 2 things that they've covered is a copy of probably Liz Hull's story about that's a lie here. It says victims plural, mother singular. But yeah, so they've done the copy of Liz Hull's article, which is an opinion, and then the other day a copy of whoever's article, probably Liz Hull again, I don't know, about Wes Streeting's opinion, who incidentally knows nothing about the case. So that's all they've covered. The other day we've had actual factual things come out, which is not opinion, by Sarah Napton, nurses' support for Lucy Letby and concerns about hospital safety cut from public hearings. And it gives things that have been basically praising anything that didn't fit with the narrative, and that's quite a lot. And I think there's over half a dozen examples that were cut out of a public inquiry. Now that's news, but they're not gonna. The BBC won't put that in there. Just worth mentioning. And like some people say to me, so you think you know more than the jury? Yes, I do. Or you think you know more than Liz Hull? Yes, I think I do. And quite a lot. You only have. I'll tell you what about Liz Hull. You only actually need to learn a small percentage, like maybe 50% about the case, because with Liz Hull, even though she sat through the whole trial, and I know she was at that. She covered the Dr. Shuley's press conference. She sat through the whole 10 months trial, but obviously only 50% or less of it actually went through her airhead brain, and the rest just went straight through, and she obviously couldn't process it. So, if she's listening, yes, Liz, I do know more than you, because the things that the defence say just can't seem to get processed in her mind, and even after she's been told by this expert peer-reviewed panel of 14 professional neonates, not talking about paediatricians, peer-reviewed of paediatricians, this is neonatologists and more, and even the person who wrote the paper on the air embolus tells you categorically it's got no basis in science. None of that sinks through to her, and she's like, but according to my notes, that was covered by, it was covered already in the trial. And in a way, actually, she has got a point. Some of it, a lot of it was covered in the defence by Mark Myers, and all that tells you, it doesn't mean it's wrong. All it tells you is that the jury are just as airheaded as she is. And so all of these people who are saying they want a retrial, I don't want a retrial. Because what are you going to do if she has another trial and then she's found guilty again? There's nothing. Then what are you going to do? Because you say, there's these safety levels, things will stop. There are levels there to make sure innocent people don't get convicted. Well, none of that helped in the first two trials. And, much like Liz Hull, once people have made up their mind and they've seen which will be everyone in the UK, have seen the newspaper articles knowing that she's a killer. And let's talk about the second trial. They opened with she had already killed six babies, so therefore she must have killed this baby K, even though the baby didn't even die in the same hospital that she was in. And they just threw another conviction on her. I mean, how you can think that a jury now. I was going to play you some videos, some of these public videos where they ask members of the public questions, like simple questions like what's the capital of Spain and stuff. Don't know. And someone wrote a great comment the other day. It was a rebuttal when someone said she was tried by a jury of her peers. Well, hold on, a jury of her peers? What, so all the jury members had nursing degrees, did they? Probably not, I don't know, but I doubt it. And so this notion of why even bother having a retrial? There's supposed to be, the CPS, there's supposed to be a threshold of evidence before something can actually go to court. Otherwise you would just take anyone to court for anything with no evidence. So there's supposed to be a threshold, and we know there was no evidence to start off with because there was no crime. Only something that if there were only something that JR had manufactured about air embolus, that was about as much as it was. And I just want to remind you what the judge actually said to the jury. Okay, so this is what the judge said to the jury. Outlining the defence's case, Mr. Justice Goss said, it was their view that there were possible causes for many of the collapses other than the intentional harmful act, and the prosecution's expert evidence could not be relied on. The judge said that to the jury. He added, it is for the prosecution to prove the defendant's guilt of any offence by making you sure of her guilt. She has no burden of proving her innocence. If you are not sure she is guilty of any offence, your verdict should be not guilty. And yet, 15 counts she got. 15 counts. So they were sure, even though the judge said the evidence could not be relied upon. So, whilst you're hoping for a retry, what are you going to do if she gets guilty again? Which she probably would do, given the public's poor understanding of statistics, medical evidence. One, it just shouldn't go to trial. They're going to need to. Two, if it does go to trial, they're going to need to adjust just the way it's handled, because obviously members of the jury are not competent enough to deal with it. Like Liz Hull said, this was covered in the trial. This was, I've actually found a decent use for one of Liz Hull's articles here, other than toilet paper. Like she said, a lot of that she's basically pointing out how much of a good job the defence did, covering this, covering that, which Dr. Shuley said, and still they found her guilty. And let's take Liz Hull and let's take Christopher Snowdon. Christopher Snowdon's put an article out the other day. He thinks she's guilty. He's made a couple of errors. I mean, I've got no medical qualifications, but I read through his article and I myself have spotted a couple of medical mistakes where he claims that the baby's liver couldn't be damaged because the baby was born through C-section, as if that somehow mitigates birthing damage, when actually it could be a further cause of it, an increased risk. And two, he was quoting something about the C-peptide levels again, and didn't understand or didn't listen to the fact that the way the C-peptides work in neonates is different to adults. I'm sure there's loads of things wrong with it, but the point is he's had access to all of the new information with Dr. Shuley's team, and he's saying thinks she's guilty because he's stupid. So what faith have you got in 12 new jurors? That's what I wanted to talk about. Let me know what you think.